Coralie lived in the symphony of the deep. Her world was a kaleidoscope of shifting light, of whale song, and the gentle sigh of currents. She feared the jagged edges of undersea trenches and the sudden, crushing silence of a hunting squid. But these were sensible fears, fears with weight and teeth. They belonged to the logic of the ocean. Her fear of spiders was different. It was a secret, shameful thing, a holdover from a childhood spent collecting treasures from sunken ships. In a silt-filled cabin, she had once reached for a pearl necklace and found her hand inches from a creature of nightmare. It was long-legged, hairy, and moved with a jerky, terrifying swiftness. It was a spider, preserved in a pocket of air, a relic of the world above. The image and the primal dread it ignited had never left her. Her people called them air crabs and laughed at them. But Coralie didn't laugh. She would avoid entire grottos rumoured to house the ghostly web-spinning descendants of shipwrecked stowaways. The turning point came when her younger sister, Lyra, fell ill. The only cure, according to the ancient sea witch, was the silk moss that grew in the Sunken Forest, a place shrouded in legend and, of course, known to be thick with the most intricate and vast webs in the ocean. "I cannot go," Coralie whispered to her mother, her tail fins trembling. "The silk moss, it grows in their nests." "Your sister's light is fading," her mother replied, her voice heavy as an anchor. "The fear you feel is a current, Coralie. You can either be pulled by it, or you can swim against it." The choice was no choice at all. With a heart beating like a frantic shrimp, Coralie swam towards the Sunken Forest. It was a graveyard of ancient petrified trees, their branches like bleached bones against the dark water. And everywhere, strung between them, were the webs. They were not the flimsy things of her nightmares, but astonishing architectures of silver silk, gleaming with trapped phosphorescence. They were beautiful, and the beauty made the fear worse. Her gills flared as she saw the first one. A water weaver, no bigger than her thumbnail, skittering along a guideline, mending a tear with impossible delicacy. She froze, a scream trapped in her throat. Every instinct told her to flee. "Lyra," she thought, picturing her sister's pale, listless form. "Swim against the current." She took a trembling breath of water and pushed forward. The silk moss was said to grow deep within the forest, in the oldest, most web-choked heart of it. Every flicker of movement in the periphery made her jump. A strand of silk brushed her arm, and she recoiled as if stung. Then she saw it. The silk moss, a shimmering, blue-flecked fungus, clinging to the trunk of a colossal sunken oak. And guarding it, or perhaps simply living upon it, was the largest spider she had ever seen. Its body was the size of her fist, its legs long and jointed, patterned with subtle spots like abalone. It was not monstrous, but it was formidable. It stood in the centre of a web that was a masterwork of engineering, a cathedral of silk. Terror turned her blood to ice. She floated, paralysed. The spider moved. It didn't charge. It simply took a few precise steps along its web, its multiple dark eyes seeming to observe her. It raised one of its front legs and tapped rhythmically on a silken strand. The web hummed, a low vibrational thrum that Coralie felt in her bones. It was a sound of inquiry, not aggression. A memory surfaced, not of fear, but of her father, a crafter of coral and stone. "Look at the work, little minnow," he'd say, holding up an intricate necklace. "The skill tells you about the heart of the maker." Coralie looked, truly looked, not at the spider, but at the web. She saw the perfect symmetry, the incredible strength, the way it harnessed the current to act as a net. It was a thing of genius. This was not a mindless monster, this was an artist, an architect. Tentatively, she reached out a hand, not towards the spider, but towards the edge of the web. She plucked a single, non-essential strand. It vibrated with a pure, high note. The spider tapped again, a different pattern. It then turned with an unnerving grace and skated to the far side of its web, beginning to methodically wrap a captured bioluminescent fly. It was ignoring her. It had assessed her and found her not to be a threat nor prey. The fear didn't vanish, but it made room for something else. Respect. Swimming forward, her movements slow and deliberate, Coralie approached the oak. She hummed a low, steadying note, a mimicry of the spider's own vibration. The spider paused its work, one leg lifted, then resumed. With careful fingers, Coralie harvested a generous clump of the silk moss, making sure not to damage the web's anchor points. As she worked, she watched the water weaver. She saw the meticulousness of its movements, the purpose in every action. It was simply a creature, living its life, providing for itself in the vast, demanding world they shared. When she had what she needed, she didn't flee. She hovered for a moment, then reached into the small netted bag she carried. From it, she took a perfect white moon pearl, a treasure she had been saving. She placed it gently on a sturdy strand of silk near the edge of the web, a gift, an offering of thanks. The spider skittered over, tapped the pearl with its forelegs, and then, to Coralie's astonishment, began to weave a tiny silken cradle around it, securing it to its home. Coralie swam away from the sunken forest, the cure clutched in her hand. The fear was still a whisper in the back of her mind, a cold little current, but it no longer controlled her. She had swum against it. She had looked into the multiple eyes of her dread, and had seen not a monster, but a fellow builder, a quiet genius of the deep. And in that understanding, she found a courage far stronger than any fear. The end. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like, share and subscribe.